I started playing I played Overwatch when it came out, Overwatch 1, and I had maybe 60 hours or so in Diva, just mostly playing quick play. Didn't really play much after that on console. I started playing at the launch of Overwatch 2 with my son who was interested in it. And I've gone on to put like another 400 or so hours into it in the last 2 years. But around season 9, I just started doing competitive. And after I started doing competitive, around season 9, I started doing competitive. And in about October of last year, I started playing on Tracer as a joke because I got a Tracer skin and I figured I wanted to use it. And I just really realized how much I like the mobility in heroes in Overwatch. And so, like, I had like Diva for her mobility and really fell in love with Tracer's kit, but had never played DPS before. I put a ton of time into Kiriko at the start of Overwatch. Played a little bit more Diva. I've gone on to play some more Diva after that, but the vast majority of the time I've put into the game has been into Tracer. But I tend to sometimes lead the board in kills and final blows, but I keep losing. And I know that there's a lot that I'm not great at. I think my shooting mechanics are good for what level I'm at.
Yes.
Good enough
Sure.
to be down in bronze. But there's just, as time goes on, I just realize that there's a bunch of things that I'm just not sure that I do realize. Like, with as much time as I've put into the game, like, it was just a couple weeks ago, or maybe about a month, that I realized, like, oh, these people are alive, and when they're looking at me, I need to really get away. That was like something that I learned.
Yeah.
So I've got this big list of things that I'm trying to work on, and I'm just trying to figure out what to prioritize.
Right.
And also just thinking, how viable is it to climb on Tracer out of a rank like bronze?
Sure. I think one of the things to keep in mind, let's test our screen sharing thing here. So I'm going to click share my screen there. Can you see that? It should be just paint. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see the paint.
All right, perfect. So one of the things you kind of have to realize here is give me 1 second to make sure that my recording thing is working here. Perfect. Is that there's certain characters that if we talk about a skill floor or a value floor, or basically how much value you get out of a character, it's basically when you play, let's say 10 to 15 hours with a character, how much value are you going to be getting out of that character? A character like Moira might be like here. A character like Bastion might be like even lower, right? Even easier to pick up Bastion. But then you've got a character like Tracer, and this is where you're probably running into some of your difficulties, because with Tracer, her skill floor is really quite high. In other words, it takes quite a long time to be able to master the basics with Tracer. And not just time, but dedicated, specific, focused time as well. And I think that's where sometimes we get a sense of, not entitlement, but in Overwatch, if this is our rank curve, right, where there's like bronze players and silver players, and then, at the opposite end, there's like Grandmaster and top 500 players, right? The reality is that everyone's getting a little bit better, always. That's how games mature, usually. I think comparing like season 1 of Overwatch 1, right, to season 1 of Overwatch 2, even though there was a lot of new players, the level of play was so much higher, and where we're at right now, maybe some of the highest level of play that Overwatch has ever seen. And so you can't just get better. You have to get better than the average person at your rank. Now, in a bronze, that's a little bit easier. because a lot of those people, you know, will have limitations or they're making bad habit choices or so on. But then as you move on to silver and so on, it starts to get a little bit harder and a little bit harder. The thing is that a lot of people put a lot of time into the game. And as a game like, let's say, table tennis, right, or ping pong, whatever, not a lot of people play table tennis and ping pong regularly. So if you had a ping pong table in your basement, right, and let's say once a week you and your son went downstairs and for a couple hours you just smacked the ball back and forth, you would probably be a lot better than the average person, because the average person doesn't play ping pong. But if you were to enter a ping pong tournament or a casual ping pong league, it would be a lot harder because everybody there plays ping pong. Everybody here plays Overwatch. So putting more time in isn't necessarily going to be good enough. It has to be the quality of that time. And you kind of brought up an interesting point earlier talking about the skill floor here. You can absolutely climb out of the rank that you're at with Tracer. In fact, Tracer has one of the healthier skill curves in the game because you can get essentially infinitely good at Tracer because there's so many skills that you can balance. And that's why she's very popular in higher ranks, because if you're really good at Tracer, you're just really freaking good. The problem is as you kind of diagnosed, is that it's harder to do so with Tracer because she's just a more complicated character than a character like Bastion or a character like Moira.
I think part of the problem is how complicated she is, but also part of the problem is the way that the game plays in the lower ranks.
Sure.
Like, the idea of distracting people doesn't feel like it gets nearly as much value when it's just the tank with all of the other heroes standing behind them waiting for the tank to go in. I mean, half the team is not getting value half the time.
I agree. I 100% understand, and I agree with that take as well. I think that's kind of like where you have this double-edged sword, where on paper that's true, but also on paper in general, you're going to have more opportunities to catch isolated targets unaware compared to higher ranks. And that's also one of Tracer's strengths. So I agree with you. In terms of distraction value, definitely not as good because players aren't smart enough to consistently capitalize off of that. Although we can talk about some things that can help with that. But on the flip side of things, being able to catch isolated targets and those targets not getting any help, that's more likely to happen in the lower ranks as well.
Oh, yeah. If a Mercy is standing behind a tank and I see the Mercy and the tank doesn't see, the Mercy's basically dead.
Right, exactly. The key thing for me is that you don't necessarily have to treat the game differently. You just might have slightly different expectations. Because I don't want you to try and play Tracer differently or swap to a different character in this rank. Okay, and then we get to about, here. Okay, now we can start to learn Tracer. That's just never going to work. It's okay to start from here. As long as you're developing and building good habits, which is why I'm here, that's all going to infinitely scale. The way that I coach Tracer doesn't change.
I spent like a couple of weeks where I'm like, I'm just going to try playing an easier character. And honestly, it didn't, as I expected, it didn't work. And I'm at
still
the
have to
point
get
right
here,
now
right?
where
you still have to get to that floor, Like, you still have to put that certain amount of hours in. You can't just pick Bastion and get victory. You still have to put in a certain amount of time to learn this kit and so on. Go ahead, sorry.
Weirdly, I get more value out of Tracer right now than I do out of Soldier.
What's your hour discrepancy between those two characters, like time?
So I've got 160 hours into Tracer.
Yep.
And about 70 of that is in comp.
Yep.
And in Soldier, I've got about 25.
Well, there you go. And I would say Soldier's not a particularly easy character compared to Tracer, maybe, but he's still going to be like here, right? So, I mean, if we were to like add a random a factor to each of these, a weight, I think Soldier's still like, it's not a surprise. That's not a surprise to me at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, assuming that Tracer is the character that you want to climb on, let's talk a little bit about Tracer. Now, in terms of hero pool, is it mostly just Tracer right now?
So I play Tracer with Ashe as a backup. And I mean, I'm not sure what... I've got a several clips, but I was halfway to the enemy spawn at Dorado when I realized I had picked Tracer and I never picked Tracer on Dorado. And the start of this match is just me thinking, what the heck do I do here?
Yeah, a lot of high ground for sure. Okay, so before we get into the gameplay, let's quickly zoom through your
Yeah.
form here. You talked a little bit about some competitive anxiety, obviously
And
getting into that
I
recently.
was in a different place back when I filled that form out, but yeah, I
Right.
had a lot of competitive anxiety, but I feel like just as I think about time, it's hard for me to analyze what time does because it took me dozens of hours just to get over clicking on the red instead of the blue.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. I especially if this is your first official like crazy first person shooter. Like this was my first person shooter series one, and it was a big jump for me. Like there was a lot to learn at once, and it felt honestly kind of overwhelming at times.
And
So
when I played it initially, Overwatch 1, I played it on console. So it was all
yeah,
for
yeah,
this is
makes
the
sense.
first major game I've played on PC.
Okay. And then you're playing around an hour, or obviously let me know when and where the form has changed. You
Hmm.
played at least around an hour per day, sometimes a little bit more on the weekends.
Yeah, it's honestly been more like a couple hours each day
Okay.
recently,
Okay.
but
And is that mostly ranked?
almost exclusively.
Okay. And do you have a warm up routine or any way that you start your sessions?
I sometimes go into just the death match, the basic death match, not the
Brilliant.
try hard death
Yeah,
match.
just the unranked deathmatch.
And I will, as I told you, I've come up with a list of things that I'm working on. But I'll just pick one of them to try and work on in the warm up. Like recently,
Nice,
I've been working a lot on blink management, and
nice. How's that
I
been going?
didn't. I've recently realized the value of using more than one blink. Um, realized how much better of a spot you can get yourself in if you double blink. Um, honestly, I've also been working on using cover a lot more recently, in trying to understand what that means with Tracer being
Sure.
more close range. And I've also been trying to my biggest my biggest confusion has been how to get into the proper range to kill
Ah,
that short off angle without using all of my blinks
yes. Great question.
and without going all the way around the map to the back while half my team dies by the time I get there.
Right.
Like
Right.
I found there's been a couple matches in bronze where I'm like, okay, I'm set up, and then I hear three pings and most of my team is dead.
Right. Okay. Okay. We'll take a look at that then. And then, how consistently do you warm up?
I'm I haven't warmed up very consistently, but I've been trying
Okay.
to warm up more
Do you
consistently.
just find it not as interesting, or you just want to get into the game sooner rather than later?
It makes me anxious to begin. I get anxious before the match even starts.
Okay. Here's what I would say. Can you utilize? Okay, so have you heard of the Vaxta workshop code?
Hmm.
I
I I
no, go
get
ahead.
confused in that workshop because there's so many people that it's hard for me to get a target priority.
Understandable. Here's what I would
I have
recommend.
used a lot of Axta though.
Totally fine. If you find that the warm up doesn't work as well, basically, I would try to be on the lookout for something that allows you to warm up with only 2 or 3 minutes on days that you're anxious to get in.
Okay.
So
Okay.
let me actually look right now here. Play custom games here. I'm not streaming, but I'm just going to check something really fast here. You might even just type in AIM in the custom game browser and just see what comes
Okay.
up. And just even if it's a crappy AIM trainer, just somebody's goofy workshop island thing, whatever. Just do it for 2 or 3 minutes, just because it's faster than having to
Yeah.
go look for a deathmatch or whatever, and just see how that goes. Something to just kind
My
of get you geared in. Okay,
I, generally my accuracy is around 40%, but I'm
sure.
still working on trigger discipline.
I would put it as, I think it's one of the more frustrating things for me because I'm a big numbers guy. Like I really enjoy statistics and things like that. I don't know about you, but I have to shelve that obsession when I play Overwatch because the best way to increase your accuracy is to shoot less and to shoot
Hmm.
bigger targets. But obviously with Tracer, I mean, it goes without saying. maybe not the best. I would say that 95% of high ranked players that I have coached and worked with, all the way up to the Overwatch League, do not look at their statistics almost whatsoever, especially their accuracy. Doesn't matter. It might be something fun to flaunt or flash, but it's not something that you can really utilize too much.
Okay, because I've heard various people who play Tracer say like, oh, you need to get your accuracy up to so and so. So you don't think that's...
You need to get your accuracy up, but you don't know what you need to get it up to, because as you get better at the game, you're going to be shooting squishier and squishier targets and more evasive targets. And then also the big thing too is those targets are going to get better at movement. So they're going to be harder to shoot. How does the crit
accuracy work? Is that out of 100% or out of the accuracy that you have? Like if my accuracy is 40% and I have like 15% crit, does that mean...
I believe it's out of the accuracy that you have. I'm not sure. You could go test it in a custom game, but I believe it's out of the accuracy that you have.
Okay.
But I might be wrong with that. Okay. So around an hour a day, sometimes more. Maybe I would incorporate maybe a little bit of a shorter warm-up on days you don't feel like it, jumping into ranked, playing mostly Tracer. Let's see here. And you only get tilted when you play too much. I want to continue to enjoy the game and actively find ways to improve. I feel my knowledge base is high now, but I don't know what my long-term goals could be. I want to rank up. I don't
really get tilted.
Good.
I don't feel emotionally about it for whatever reason.
Good. It's a stressful game.
It's happened like once or twice when somebody like called me out in chat. But honestly, I've found I was really anxious about people saying negative things, and I stopped playing Diva for like 12 months after somebody like really reamed me out and ranked. But honestly, it's really helped me to get over just people saying negative things in a weird way.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good to hear. I want to enjoy the quality of the game more. I want to rank up to a point where I feel the matches are fair and enjoyable consistently. So,
and I know it's Overwatch. And
Well, here's I mean, you know the bad news that like it's only marginally going to get better, right? Like it really because I've been in bronze all the way up to Grandmaster, right? But the good news is that it did marginally get better. Like it did get a little better, right? You know,
as I watch high rank gameplay, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel like the high ranks are like maybe 20% better than
I'd say so. I mean, the biggest thing is there's just fewer people
game.
Yeah. There's just fewer people DCing. You know, like even that alone is just nice. You will run into more like hackers in higher ranks, but you'll have fewer Smurfs. Like you will have, you know, the meta matters more, so it can definitely be a little bit more frustrating when people don't play the right character in higher ranks. But you have fewer levers and fewer DCs. Right. So it's a little give and take, but I do say overall I enjoyed that.
I feel like in a way it'd be fun just to be around gold or platinum where people still aren't good, but at least the tank doesn't just stand still and not do anything.
Yeah. And you know, good is relative. I think like when you're diamond, I think, or high plat, I think you've officially gotten good at the game, like percentage wise, you know?
Sure.
But okay, let's see here. Mechanics are not great, but I'm working on it. I think what you're doing with deathmatch and playing a little bit more consistently, and also sticking with Tracer and setting. I love the fact that you were saying that like when I do play my warm up, I have a mechanical goal with like my blinks and stuff. That's super good, and we'll talk more about that in the review. I average 40% accuracy. We talked about that. I do a good job staying alive. I often don't get the kill. I do plenty of distracting.
Since I wrote this, I've been actively trying to be more aggressive.
How's that been going?
I've been actively trying to secure more kills. I think it hasn't really resulted much in rank progress, but it certainly... I've been getting more kills.
Nice.
I'm not sure if it's helping or not.
Nice. That's awesome, mate. Give me 1 second here. Let me check out the last few questions. And you said that you've been trying to schedule things a little bit more in your life. How has that been?
Yeah. I'm trying to like schedule my days a on a personal note, I was recently diagnosed with autism, and have everyone's been telling me like I really need to like schedule everything to get through the day well. And so I've got time blocks set up, and I have Overwatch set up at like 2 o'clock, from like 2 to 4 in the afternoon, like before my kids come home, after I've gotten some work done for the day.
How's that been going?
I think it worked. I think it helps me when I follow the schedule, which I haven't done perfectly yet. It helps me to get off Overwatch, because sometimes the problem is I'll just end up going on for too long. On occasion, I've implemented this thing where like I'll play a game. If I get a win, I'll play another one. If I lose, I'll do a VOD review, and then I'm done. And I'll do that maybe throughout the day, and then do an activity, do that, and just kind of a way to break things up.
Sure.
I work from home. I'm home, and my work
nice.
can be rather flexible.
Nice. Good. Good. Question with the VOD review: how has that been going for you? Because that could be a little tedious for VOD reviewing every loss, or even half of your losses.
It was an idea that I have not implemented yet, and I've only done it a few times. I don't think I haven't. Honestly, since I wrote what I wrote you, I've come to a much deeper realization about just how much I don't know.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things. I don't think that I'm going to be very effective at doing VOD reviews myself yet, but
I think you should try it. Here's what I would do: is I would try it. I think that for most people, improvement is a non-linear progression, and I think a lot of that is like exploring what works best for you, and finding whether VOD reviewing works or whether it doesn't work. And I think for most people, VOD reviewing is helpful, but for most people, it needs to be something short, and it needs to be something occasional, like once a week, right? 10 to 15 minutes.
And occasionally I watch my replay after a match.
Yeah, answer some questions you may have had about that match.
Even if it's just part of the while I'm in queue, I'll just go to a certain part of it and see like how could I have done that better.
Right. Well, that's good. I think that's the way to do it. Is I look at VOD reviewing as, obviously we're here to do this big, nice, long VOD review and all that kind of stuff. But most of the time, VOD reviewing is more situational and by need. So that didn't feel right. Let me go back and look at a fight or two. Okay, that's it. Like legitimately 5 minutes sometimes. You know, I think sometimes people think that there has to be like these daily hour-long VOD reviews, and it just doesn't need to be that sometimes. But obviously, like, experiment, like, see what works for you. Okay, I don't really have any other questions for you. Do you have any other questions for me?
No.
Okay, do you have a replay code?
Let me send you the. How do I get to the replay codes?
Let me restart my stream and I'll show you. So you're going to need to click on...
I'm on the home screen right now. Is it social or free?
So jump in Discord and I'll show you.
Yeah, okay.
So I restarted my stream. You'll need to click on my profile picture at the top of stream and then click over. Let me know if you see it. If you don't, I can restart.
Click on the profile picture?
At the top of the Discord call, yeah. I think you should be able to see like a picture of me.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, so are you on the Overwatch stream now? Can you see this? Discord's awkward.
Oh, I see it. I've got it. I've got it.
All right, so you can see my like history channel. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. Okay, so basically what you're gonna do here is you'll go to your history tab, right? So you'll go career profile and then history tab. Then you'll go into your replays, and then these are all your games, right? And there's a ton of them. So
I just get confused by Overwatch's menus.
It is.
Always forget whether it's history or like literally every time I forget.
Yeah, it happens to me. And then from here you click the one you want. Click share. It'll generate the code, and then you can click copy when it's done, and then just copy it in our chat. Or you can read it out loud to me. It doesn't matter to me.
View game report.
Shouldn't need to. Just the history and then the replay tab under that. So it's highlights, game report, then replays.
Sorry.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
I
Game report looks the same. It's basically the same thing.
Oh. Screen's flashing.
Yeah, no worries. Take your time.
Okay. For some reason, like, the code is blinking on and off, so I can't actually hit copy, but I do have a number.
Yeah, you could just read it out.
8JHWER.
8J. Sorry, read it one more time for me. I'm dumb.
8JHWER.
Yes. WHWER. Got it.
No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong one.
Oh yeah, no worries. No Havana.
I do have the other code.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
4YPD5Z.
So one more time.
4YP.
4YP. Yep.
D5Z.
D5Z.
Ready for battle.
Okay, let's get this pulled up. Okay, this is the right one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is interesting because you said this is where you're like, oh no, I've picked Tracer on Dorado. This is a mistake. I shouldn't be doing this. Too much verticality, that kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, it's just Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't know exactly how to approach this.
Sure. The rule of Tracer is exactly what you said earlier. You know what you're talking about. Short off angle, pressure. That's it. Now, the awkward thing with the verticality is sometimes there might be enemies that may not be accessible on that high ground. So that does limit the amount of angles that you can hold, because that there will be some enemies that you can off angle on too. You could path there for sure, but you might not be able to. The one thing that Dorado does have, and a lot of these escort maps with high ground have, like Blizzard World and so on, is you may not be able to go to high ground easily, but you could pressure from another angle. You don't have to. Your job isn't necessarily to control a specific target. Your job is just to pressure from whatever angle is convenient.
Yeah. And, like, because normally I'd set up on the high ground, but this is not.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
not advantageous for Tracer.
Right, exactly. And honestly, it's like, this is just not a very good angle. Like, it's not very short, right? So now you might like set up here, or you can blink across to here if you set up over there. That's kind of useful. But yeah, long story short is it's basically you're just looking for an angle. Now, one thing that is useful is that you have payload to play around with.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I would have blinked. I would have set up in the other place that you just showed if I had been thinking about this a little bit more beforehand. But
and that's the key thing, right? Is to kind of think about it as best as you possibly can. But basically with payload, if the entire enemy team goes top, somebody has to push payload. Somebody's isolated. Right? Somebody's isolated. Yes. And so a lot of people will play Tracer on Dorado because they have somebody that can contest and harass cart, or maybe even push cart, because payload is, if everybody's high ground, guess what? Payload's an off angle. It's not likely to happen at your rank, frankly, but if that does happen, it is an option, and that's why Tracer is actually fairly decent in this map. So we know that you know a lot about Tracer, so all we're going to do here is be like, what you know versus what you do, what's the discrepancy, and how can we fix that? Last question I have for you, because we didn't talk about it earlier. Do you know what your mouse DPI and in-game sensitivity is?
I don't remember what the number is, but it's the same thing that Prophet uses.
Okay, then we're good.
He actually, his DPI is like double that of what people typically recommend, but it's enough that from the center of my mouse pad, I can do a 360 to the either edge.
That's perfect. Awesome. Okay, we're good then. I like this angle from you here. So this is where you're going to find struggles with distraction value. Number one, if I were to make a nitpick about your angle, the reason why I don't love this angle as much as, say, this angle is do you see where your team is and where you are? I think you could tick the clock around to 6 o'clock. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of 9
Yeah,
o'clock.
and like I said, I was halfway up there and realized I was playing Tracer on this map, and I hadn't thought that through fully. I would definitely do the other side.
Right. The depth of the angle, we'll say, is could be a little bit deeper. But there's an even more important factor, and you know this thing if you've seen any of my videos, which I know you have. It's your timing here. So you are tanking right now. You go in because you see ball go in. So you get in here and you follow up. Great. But your ball is out. And I don't think you know that.
Okay.
And that's a very hard thing to track, frankly. It's a very hard thing to track. But it's something that you have to constantly be aware of. In addition to that, if I was coaching your ball, I don't know that I'd want him even going in just yet. I'd kind of let them come up to here because look at where your supports were. You see this? Your supports kind of are set up to fight like on this choke here, not this choke over here.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you're following up on your ball right now, but you really got to be disciplined because the reason why this feels bad here and feels like your distraction value isn't getting anything right now is because it's not getting any value.
I think timing and patience are really high on my list of things that I'm not great at.
That's it. Because if you waited here,
patience especially,
now is your opportunity to pressure. Do you see what your Sombra's doing? This is closer to what we want you to do because it's synchronized with a peak from Idiari and a peak from your ball. Now, it's very hard to predict that perfectly, but you can go off of audio cues, and if you're set up better, you can check, okay, I hear ball, I go. It's the same. You did it the very first fight. You saw my ball go in, you followed up. Do that again. Do that again. But the problem here is because you went when your ball was not in, you got focused out. And so then now when your ball is in, you're not there. So you're totally desynced. You're in and out, in and out. And that's really bad in Overwatch because a desync will lead to a lot of pressure, but no kills. Because you need to go with your ball or with your Rhine Shield or with your Sigma Poke or with your Roadhog Hook. And if you can synchronize your pressure, you hit spikes that gets kills and forces cooldowns.
The most important things to pay attention to. I feel
Two things.
Okay.
I'm going to simplify it for you real fast. Sorry for interrupting. Number one,
go ahead.
Where's my backline positioned? Number two, when is my tank distracting? Not engaging, distracting. Because you might have a really passive tank, just stands here and holds shield. But if they're looking at that shield, that's an opportunity for you to do something.
Okay. So
where's my backline? Yeah. When is my tank distracting? And the best part about it is you can answer one of those questions before the fight even starts. So literally as you're waiting here. Okay. With that information, I'm probably not going to go over here, right? And I'm probably not going to set up over here. I'm going to set up somewhere in this vicinity here. This is kind of where we're going to fight here. And then all you need to know is when is my tank distracting. See you set up. See him through the walls. He's distracting now. You need to be here.
Okay.
You see it? Only two questions you need to know. So that way you can kind of get that. So yeah, I like this adjustment from you. Deeper angle. And this is much better because is your tank distracting? Yes.
Yes.
So should you be shooting? Yes.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, I think from here on out, like this section here, you're doing good damage. You're on a good angle. You're shooting good targets. Your blink here was like, I think you could have blinked there, frankly. But this is...
What did I not blink? What did I do?
You just walked.
Yeah. Okay.
You just took a constitutional, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know exactly. I've got this idea in my head that I should only blink defensively, but that would have been defensive.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just blink to avoid damage.
Yeah.
Either to disengage or to engage. It's totally up to you. But yeah, I mean, long story short, your adjustment and rotation to this angle, and then your timing once you're on that angle was really good. It was really good. And then here you either need to get out or just die. I think you're gonna try and get out.
I think I get stuck.
Okay, so this is where you need to turn your crosshair again because most of your team has died. So, but I don't know if they're back yet.
I knew Okay, I see what you're saying. I knew that they were dead. I knew that they were dead. I just wasn't.
But see, they're not.
No. I knew that they weren't there.
I see what you're
that they
saying.
were
I see what you're saying.
coming.
I see what you're saying. Right. So basically, you're at a point in time now where I wouldn't peek now, but I would be checking.
Okay.
I'd be looking.
Okay.
I'd be looking through walls. And is my tank distracting right now? Yeah, kind of looks like it, right? Yeah. Okay, so we need to go now. Yes. I think I could stay there and keep shooting, yeah. Yeah, this is good. Good.
Yeah,
this is good.
one of the things I've been working on is exactly when to move.
Yeah, so actually, I only have one complaint here, really. And that's, I think you should stay in the angle here. This Roadhog's being super cringe right now and just following you around. But that's fine for you because that means that he's not looking at any of the rest of your team, and your team is fighting right now. So this is fine. Like, if this is where you're getting your distraction value, good for me. Sorry for me. I just don't want you to go over here. Blink back here.
Okay.
Wrap
And
around.
I think that's exactly what I do. I think I go over there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? Like, you need to be setting up
And
for your
this
pulse bomb
right
here.
there was messy. That was really messy.
Yeah. You can't overthink this one too much in terms of like, oh, if I'd been on the angle, we win the fight. I don't think you win the fight regardless. I think your team screwed up pretty badly, but that's okay. Like, you still need to be checking the boxes that I did the best that I can, and I can't honestly check the box for you there.
Okay.
But that being said, your initial setup here was much better. Like, you were on good timing, on a good angle. The problem is that you gave it up, right? You ran towards your team when the Roadhog looked at you. You're by yourself. You need to reset up. Oh my gosh, that grenade. That's a crazy bounce. So, obviously your ball's out here. So you need to be setting up for next engage, but probably not shooting right now because there is no tank distraction. Where should you set up?
In the corner, in the upper left of the screen, in that hallway up.
So like here? Yeah, this would be great.
Yeah.
But what's going to be more convenient with where you are right now?
I could just go down to the hallway to the right. I could go to the room to the back.
And see, this is what you're doing is you're investing your time between your balls and engages because you're like, I can't do anything right now, but what I can do is set up and improve my off angle a little bit better. So you blink here, you walk, balls in, and now look at where you are, isolated on him.
Okay. Yeah.
You see that? And so then what will happen is your ball will get shot, but he won't get shot by Ana. And you might even force the resources to turn around and shoot you, which then saves your ball's life. And then you blink back, you grab a health pack, you go back in again, rinse and repeat. The problem here is that when your ball goes in, you don't use that time to improve your angle.
Yeah, I just say
and you're confused. Like, you're very lost in terms of how to set up. Now that's normal. Again, we talked about the skill floor of this character, the positioning, not just the mechanic, but the positioning aspect of this character. S tier. Most difficult, one of the most difficult characters in Overwatch, right? Super hard, right?
Yeah.
And you do rotate to the left where you said that you could go. It just
that's where my mind naturally went. For some reason, I wasn't.
It just took you too long to get here.
Two areas separated in my mind as part of the map.
Yeah, because this is fine. This is a short off angle. It's fine. You know, you can also wrap around deeper if you'd like to this way. Do the exact same thing. It just took you too long to get here. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, this is brilliant. Brilliant. Nice play. Yeah, this is good. Good. No, just... Okay. I even like this, like going towards spawn, setting up a deeper angle. We're still holding that choke, so now you're set up. There's an Ana here. I don't think you knew that. Who's just...
I did not see her.
Yeah, she's just a little closer, that's all. But yeah, I mean, this is fine. And see, this is the funny thing here. Your tank is not here, and yet you're shooting. Why? This is a big question.
I'll tell you the truth. It's because there's a certain YouTuber who says never stop shooting.
Right. Of course.
It might be a habit that I need to break from playing earlier.
Right. Well, hang on. I said it was a bait question. I said it was a bait question because look at your screen carefully. What do you see? Your tank's not shooting, but who is?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Remember the two questions, right? It's, is my tank distracting? Where's my backline? And actually here you should be shooting because your backline is fighting right now. Your team is fighting. The only reason your tank isn't engaged is because your tank isn't back yet. But we all know how silver ranked games go. People don't regroup all the time, right? You know, so you just have to...
Actually, bronze 4.
Okay, well, whatever. So you just have to fight with most of your team. That's just how it is. And if your team wants to fight, okay. My point being is that the rule of timing is obviously we like tank distractions more because they're bigger and more distracting. But I just want you to be fighting with your team. That's it.
Okay.
Ironically, I want you to be further from your team positionally, but more in sync with your team timing-wise.
Okay.
And I love this angle from you. And I also really like your distraction here. This is really helpful. This forces the Bastion back, which might be the only reason that your Illari actually got the ultimate off of. Because if that Bastion had not been scared of you, he might have died. He might have killed your Illari, right? And then you go back in to help. I mean, it's unfortunate here. I think it probably would have been better to wrap this way.
I wasn't paying enough attention to my.
That's okay. Side. That's okay. But long story short, you helped. You helped a lot, right? It's all right. Good stuff. And you were a significant contribution to your team's victory there because you were on an angle and you helped your backline. It's good. Good. This is again where distraction value matters, right? It doesn't feel like it necessarily because you're just dumping clips into a Roadhog, but this guy is the biggest, most important person on the battlefield for them right now, and this guy is totally MIA right now for his team. And you should still live this too, right there, bam, dead. Look at Junkrat as well. Junkrat's about to die too. That's just mechanics. That's just mechanics, right? You're on corner. You have two blinks.
I didn't expect him to get me there. But,
right. Your first response when somebody looks at you, blink, right? Talk about your blink management and warm up. This is a blink. This could be a blink to cover.
And there's still one of the things I know I'm working on now is putting that knowledge into my actions.
Yes.
I knew to blink there. I just my body didn't respond.
And I think that's the key thing for me is like you know, it's totally fine to practice mechanical things and also in ranked games too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, I don't have a lot of complaints in terms of how you set it up. It was good.
And I mean, now that you're mentioning it, I'm really realizing how much of a problem it is that I'm engaging it entirely the wrong time.
Right. And even here, it's just a minor timing thing. But frankly, there's nothing happening from your team right now. Like nothing at all. Like even if you turn around here, your EDR is not even really shooting right now. So we want to let them walk forward until when would you say would be a good time to shoot? I'll let you call it. With what you can see, because remember you could see these guys through walls, right? So what do you think?
Now.
Yeah, now, right now, exactly. You see your Illari walk up a little bit. You could hear the shots from your Widow. Again, your tank is not here, but this is a good time to go. It's good enough. You got to go. The problem here is that you could have been shot a couple of times. You're down a blink. They know you're there, so the element of surprise is kind of gone. Right? So, but that being said, angle's good. I like this angle. This is the best angle I think you could be on right now. You could go all the way around behind maybe while you were waiting. Maybe you could have gotten here. But honestly, honestly, this is fine. I have no complaints here. Unfortunate. Here's what I would say. Maybe a little tip for you with your pulse bomb. When you have it, I know another certain YouTuber likes to say use it as soon as you possibly can. I will adjust that statement a little bit and be like, use it when you see an opportunity, but if you don't see an opportunity, don't force it. Right now, just keep shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. Eventually, you'll see Fade. Eventually, you'll see Bastion. Eventually, that Ana will walk forward. Eventually, you'll see Vate from the Hog. Eventually, the Junkrat. Something will happen, I promise you, in the next 10 seconds. Like, let's watch. Let's watch. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is. You see it? There she is.
Yes.
There's your pulse.
Yes.
6 seconds, right? And just infinitely more value, infinitely more. Even if you don't even hit it, like you're going to win this duel because she's gonna be freaking about pulse bomb, and she's gonna take some chip damage. There it is, right there.
So
Perfect
should I have
timing.
been waiting? Would I have been waiting that whole time?
No.
What would I have been
No,
doing
just-
in that?
just shoot.
That
Just shoot.
6 seconds?
Do
Just
exactly
shoot.
what you're doing right now. Using
Okay.
cover, distracting, blinking if you need to, holding
And
the angle.
there you can see the Ana right there. Yeah.
And maybe the Bastion pushes you, right? Perfect. Maybe the
Uh-huh.
Moira fades into you. Perfect. Maybe the Roadhog pushes into you and you have to blink away, but they waste all that time and then you go back in again. It doesn't matter. But yeah, just pressure. The fight's starting now, but Pulse Bomb doesn't have to start now. Just look
Okay.
for an opportunity. Because you're on such a good position right now that you're going to be putting a lot of pressure without Pulse Bomb. And then obviously, I know you don't have recall, but you do not leave the single. You do not leave the single.
Okay.
You have to blink, so you're enough to at least juke. If they chase you, you can run away. But you do not leave this angle, because not only do you lose a lot of pressure here, but you're also cooked. Right?
Yeah.
If you're going to die here, at least die serving a distraction. You weren't even a mild distraction here.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he was aiming his hook for you. I think you just walked into it. Nice. Good tracking as well. Good trigger discipline as well. Look at that. That was good. All right, deep in the flank here. That's fine. I mean, this fight was lost. You guys were down 3. Who cares? Okay, yeah.
Should I have even been engaging in that fight?
Yeah, because when you engage, your team technically was still alive, but then they died like as you were setting up. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
It was fine. It's not a problem. Again, good setup here. Your team is fighting, right? At least seems to be kind of sort of fighting, so this is fine. Now, the only problem is they are going to look at you, so be careful.
How do you define fighting?
Shooting.
Like, just act, even if they're really far, as long as they're
Use your
looking at them and
use your
shooting.
judgment,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Use your judgment. Like, I look at this comp here, and I don't want to overanalyze it, but I know my Ram's got a little staff, right? He's zapping. EDR is poking. We got a Widowmaker, right? That's a lot of pressure from her right there. It doesn't look like it, but it's a lot, right? It's enough.
Yeah.
Just use your, it doesn't even have to be perfect either. It feels right. The key thing for you to be able to make that judgment, though, is as you're walking forward here, before you peek this angle here, you take a quick look. And I see, oh, Ram's wide peeking, my Widow's peeking. This is good enough. This is good timing.
Okay. Okay.
No, I want none of this to be by accident. I want it to be calculated. In the quick moments before you actually engage. Check them. Okay, we're good. Let's go. Yep. This is really stressful, but this is really good. This Roadhog, this entire fight has been staring at you. And the best part about it is you're still getting damage. You're still getting damage. This Ana's staring at the Roadhog who's staring at you, and you're still peppering the Bastion. And so look at your Ram. Like this, your Ram is literally getting totally ignored because of you.
Huh.
And so this is where your distraction value, we talked about it, it's a little bit less in lower ranks, yes. But your Ram is like, man, this game's easy. Look at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's all on you. And you're being super smart with your blinks too. I think you've been hooked too many times, so you're like, man, I'm not gonna get hooked again, right?
Yeah.
And it's good. I mean, this has been, I mean, you've deadlifted this fight. Like, this has been all you, this fight. Really good movement, really good setup, really good timing. Target priority, finish it off with a juicy pulse bomb. Freaking Roadhog, man. That guy just doesn't die. Yeah, this was the best fight we've seen from you this entire game, by a lot. And even this, no follow-up, defensive nade, sleep dart. You might, oh, you almost lived that. That's just a good sleep dart. But they're using an ultimate, and Roadhog almost dies while he was ulting because you were distracting the entire backline. And honestly, that Ana should have died and you should have lived. If you were even like 5% better mechanically there in terms of your movement, she's cooked. She's dead. And you live. Still your best fight, though. Still your best fight. Well done. It's all the spec and sense so far.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
The biggest takeaway I'm getting right now is I'm not watching my supports and my tank enough.
Right. And the key thing is, when do you watch them? Right before you start to shoot. Once you're shooting, it's a lot harder and not as necessary. But like right now, you know that Ramatra is, you know, he's a pinata, right? So like they're always going to be looking at you. Now they're going to be looking at you now, so now we need to kind of chill. Yep. Good. But even here, before you push, Quick check. Okay. Yuri, Kiriko kind of in spawn. Maybe you could wait a few seconds here. I mean, that's good, but it's a little lucky, right?
Yeah.
At least you're going with your Junkrat, though. Like, if I saw my Junkrat doing this, then I think I'd go. And again, the angle here is really, really nice. Diametrically 180 degrees behind that Junkrat. There was nowhere for that Ana to hide. Again, pretty good. Pretty good. You should be pleased. All right. So, where's your backline set up? Where's your team taking this fight?
They're with the cart.
Right. So then what angle should you be on then, approximately?
I should be further back with the team.
Maybe. What if they're fighting here and you kind of like sneak up from here? You get what I'm saying? Well, as long as you're not like shooting right now too much. Like right here, it's like this feels safe, but you got to be really careful. I think this only works because your Junkrat was pushing up. I'm not honestly sure. And you really got to stop pulsing Roadhog as well.
Yeah. I have trouble hitting pulse bombs, but it's something I just need to work on.
That's it. A missed pulse bomb on an Ana does more damage than a hit pulse bomb on a Roadhog most of the time. In terms of
and I even hit a pulse on some squishies in here. I just gotta be more confident with it.
That's it. If he doesn't have a trap there, you can ignore that.
Okay.
Yeah, so just walk in and he'll ignore it and just, you know, because what is he gonna do? He's gonna die and detonate it? No,
I have real trouble stepping on Junkrat stuff, and honestly, I don't even really understand how Junkrat works. I don't like the character. I should probably put some time in to understand.
You're good. You're on a good angle though. The timing was good as well. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's keep going here. I mean, you can't help it. That was a 3K Riptire. That's hard to come back from. Okay, any questions so far? I'd like to go for another 5 minutes if that's okay with you.
Sure. All
right. No comment on that one. Tokyo Drift, right off the side of the map. I have fallen off the map more. We would be funny if they had like the game had a fallen off the map counter, you know? Global falling off the map counter.
global fall. I would be interested in that stat.
I'm easily close to 1,000, maybe more. Great angle here, by the way. Your team is fighting. Just keep wrapping, right? Because this is a little too far. Just get here. Get here. Here. You got options. Let's see what you do. Yeah, see, this is just too far and not deep enough.
Okay.
I like this rollout. This rollout is perfect, right? If they were still on high ground, you could also wrap around this way, but you need to keep rotating because this is too far and you're not making them turn around enough.
I should have gone over the bridge, but I think I just drop.
That's all right. This is good. Careful, he's going to hook. Ooh. You knew it, too. Good. Fighting with your team on an angle. Good blinks here. Again, great timing. You and your Zarya are making mincemeat of these guys. Ooh, don't get trapped. Oh, yeah. There you go. Get healing and then retake your angle. This has been good. You've just been, you notice like how you've just been like you and your Zarya have just been shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting. Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. See, that's where you're like, man, I just can just shoot and do whatever I want. It's because you're actually synchronized really well. You're still behind them, but you're synchronized. Probably would either go through church here or yeah, and or go through left maybe.
Okay.
Let's see what you do, because they're all going to be here, so you need to either wrap this way or wrap this way, and left might just be easier. Yeah, that's it. Smart. And then here you could either stand. Yeah, see, this is good. You see this? I mean, this is textbook, right? Look at the timing. Look at the angle. This is perfect. Keep shooting, and then you get deepen. Right. Look at look. This is really good. This is really good. I love this. This is beautiful. So many cooldowns for so much damage. Look at the space. You guys are down one, and it feels like you guys are up one. Just because you and your Zarya are like so in sync. Okay, so this is the distraction value. You see this? This feels so bad. Everyone's looking at me like, heck, what do I do? Moira's looking at me. Ana's looking at me. Bash is looking at me. And yet, nobody's looking at Roadhog. Nobody's looking at Sombra. So everybody chases you. Sombra dies. And not only does Sombra die, but despite the fact that you guys were down 1, you guys are actually winning this fight. Back at the angle here. Shoot, 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 shoot. You could have kept shooting there, I think. Yeah, I think you realized it. This is just easy. Oh, no.
Was it unsafe doing this? I felt like it might have been unsafe doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little too direct. It was a little too on the nose, a little too straightforward. Maybe wrap around a little bit more. But honestly, again, like the way that the first half of this fight started with you peppering from here and then peppering from here and then going back to here and then going back to here. I mean, it's really high level stuff. Really high level stuff. And it's why this fight felt so easy.
Okay.
You did a good job. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's look at one more fight. Yeah, you guys are cooking. Let's push up. Push up on an angle. Probably, where would you go from here?
Right.
Yep. You got it. Wrap around. Your team is obviously fighting, so you can just start shooting right now. Yeah, look at this. Good tracking as well. Trigger discipline there. Beautiful. Recall. I promise you, if you blindfold me, I'd say this is high soldier right here. There's moments of brilliance here. Trigger discipline there as well. Very good. And then now where should you rotate to? They've backed off, so this angle doesn't work. Where do you go?
I think right.
Yep. Just go deeper. Go deeper. Do it again. Keep going. So you see, when you lose the angle, you kind of float back towards your team instead of deepening on the angle, right? And then this here, it's perfect. But yeah, man, this is so good. There's so many good things about what we're seeing right now. Yep. They push forward. Good target acquisition there. Good try with the pulse bomb. And now deepen again. You see it? Force him out.
Yeah,
deepen.
I try to go get the BAP, and then he's got health, so I go back up to the
I mean, sometimes if they're like 1 HP, it's all right. He's dead. He misses the shot. And then again here, set up on your angle. Yep. Go upright. You can even sit up here and you can go up here even and sit and hide.
Yeah. I blink back to the team here.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as you end up back there in a second. Okay, we'll stop there. Let's take some notes. What do you need to work on? Not what do you need to learn, but what do you need to practice?
I need to practice awareness of where my team is when I start engaging, and I need to have patience to wait for the engage to start.
Yep. I put one more point in there. Deeper angles when available. Resist the urge to float back to your team. Either hold the angle or deepen, right? Don't rush pulse bomb on tank. Wait for... Be patient. Shoot. Look for opportunity. Practice blinks in ranked and duels. Would you add anything else? I think those are the big 4 for me.
I think that's good for now. Honestly, there's a lot of little, not even little, but just a major problem for me is awareness of when enemies are using their abilities.
Yes.
I'm really bad at recognizing that.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm not exactly sure how to. Sometimes I hear the audio cue and it doesn't even register.
Yes. It just takes practice, right? It takes conscious cognitive practice. Okay. Mate,